right, hello, welcome. This is episode 55 of So Well Spoken. With me is Angelus.
Yo.
And Mike.
Sup?
Every Wednesday, Six Brown Chicks, who have a website, which is SixBrownChicks.com, they post what they call Six Brown Chicks Chat, where people submit questions via email, and they post them on their Twitter feed for people to chime in and give advice. The first question for this Wednesday's: my homely grammar school friend asked me out for drinks, and I brought my friend along, promising that he would make a great dude for her. Well, dude has glowed up, and I want him for myself. They seem to dig each other. How to reroute his attention back to me?
Well, first and foremost, take your L. I mean, personally, I don't know, in those kind of situations, shit, she really deserves the L on that and let her friend prosper, because you thought that nigga was homely and trash and that man blew up. Now all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, I want him now. Wait your turn, sis. Like, wait till your homegirl fuck it up, and then I guess you can try to shoot your shot again. But if you try to shoot your shot now, your friend's just gonna see you as a complete asshole. And then technically, if the dude does like diss her for you, he's an asshole too. So I mean, I guess two assholes belong together.
Well, he's wholesome though, right?
Homely.
Oh.
Two very different things.
Very different things. Homely, okay. I mean, shit. I mean, take that L. Don't be trying to hook up people. As a matter of fact, you hooked him up with her knowing that he was homely in the first place. So, like...
yeah, you're a bad friend.
Yeah. Like, and then that shit, like, fire back in your face as man had a glow up, and all of a sudden now you're like, oh my god, I want you now. Like, nah. You gotta hold that L. Like, nah.
Yeah, so you gotta hold that one. Ain't nothing more to that.
I hope they get married.
I wonder if she considers her friend to be homely as well, and that's why she tried to hook them up.
Probably.
And now maybe she accidentally introduced a blessing into her friend's life.
Right. I mean, it's either that she thought her friend was homely, or she doesn't want her friends to have like a better looking guy than what she'll get. You know what I mean? Like, some people have that weird thing with their friends where it's like always some unspoken competition between them.
Right.
And so she's like, if I get my homegirl with this homely guy, you know, they can't really upstage me. And then ta-da, bitch, like this man's a whole, like, this man had a glow up. Your friend out here prospering. She got herself a nice man. Now you sitting here looking dumb, twiddling your thumbs. Like,
mad single.
Yeah, like, oh, how the turntables, bitch. Like, whew.
I'm new to Atlanta and joined the church I found online. The church service was amazing, and because I'm new in town, one of the church members has taken me under her wing.
Oh, God.
I'm grateful, but also sad, because I'm now involved with her husband. I really love him.
Oh, shit. I saw that coming so quickly.
I didn't. I don't know where I thought it was going. I was
as soon as she said Atlanta church, I knew this shit was not going to be wholesome at all.
Oh, of course not. Go ahead, Moris.
That's it.
Oh,
I really love him advice.
I mean, you better switch churches, fam.
She gonna need to, because she's definitely gonna get touched. Like, that girl's probably gonna whoop her ass when she finds out. And then beat her husband up, too, for good measure.
The mothers don't be playing at church.
They sure don't.
Oh, man. Nah, yeah, you got to go to another church, fam.
There's like one on every corner, so it's not like you got to go far.
Yeah, it's everyone about 2 inches. But you actually, I don't know, in this instance, you probably have to go far. But that's probably one of their sister churches. And, you know, you don't want to mess with the church the networks of churches or whatever. You got to find one that's outside of the network, probably one of them youth pastor churches or whatever.
It's like insurance. It's like health insurance. Got to go outside your network.
Gotta go outside the network, man. Because, like, if I just, it's like all these churches, like, especially around my neighborhood, I know are connected. So it's my church I usually go to, and
you go to church?
The church, like, right down the street that I don't go to, that they're connected because they like go back and forth and they have like guest preachers and stuff. And then they'll do something near my grandma or whatever. It's like that's how connected those like Baptist, depending on what denomination you're in. So you might be like need to switch denominations or something like that.
Yeah, so, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so if you're like an African Methodist or whatever, you need to switch up to go to Catholic or whatever. Or if you're Episcopalian, do that. Just switch it up.
Way too many denominations right now.
Try some Protestant churches.
Protestant, Catholic, if you want to sing.
Switch up religions. It's the same Jesus in a lot of these religions. You can try Mormonism.
don't do Mormonism.
I mean, Mormonism really didn't like black people till like 1980, so I'm not really sure if you really want to go with them. But that is a good point, though. Just go to a different religion. You all worship the exact same God. Y'all be fighting each other all the time.
I'm not gonna co-sign on that one, but yeah, sure.
It's facts. Like, it's the same God. Y'all believe in the same things. It's like,
it really comes down to semantics.
it really is. It's like,
and that's enough to where you have like 50 denominations.
It's like Georgia. It's like a Georgia dialect versus like a South Carolina dialect. And you're like, oh, I speak different English. And you're like, nah, niggas, it's the exact same English. You're just being really petty right now. And y'all fighting over semantics.
All right, this last question is pretty long. It was a two-parter.
Uh-oh.
Damn. The secret.
When we met, he was dating a friend of mine.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
She wasn't dating him exclusively.
Okay.
So I didn't think she'd mind if I played around with one of her guys.
Oh, my God.
They ain't playing with the other roster. Go ahead.
He was honest. He told her about us and then broke it off with her.
Oh, okay.
And I told him that she was seeing others too. So just 2 months later, I'm pregnant and I tell her and she's like, good for you. He wasn't happy at all. So we decided to end the pregnancy and our relationship.
Okay.
After the procedure, he bounced right back into her arms. Now they're engaged. Advice. #hurt.
Oh. Yo, what is when people just want to fuck their friends' people? Like, go outside of your circle when you're trying to get in relationships, man. That shit is so weird. Like, it's always messy. But I mean, 2 months later, you're already pregnant. That's pretty wild.
Can we start using protection? And
Seriously,
and stuff like that. Some contraceptives, like Plan B. Like, yeah, we just get the ball rolling because y'all doing too much out here, B.
How you gonna let a nigga you only know for 2 months nut in you? Like, I'm confused. Like, jeez.
Shot up the club.
Yeah,
man.
like, can you not? Like, you don't know that nigga. Like, you don't know that nigga's credit score or anything about him other than his last name. And you trying to have a kid with him? Oh my God, man. Love is this. It's not even love. It's just like pure lust. And y'all dumb, bro. Y'all are just like all the way dumb.
Shot up the club. Damn.
Yeah, I don't really have any advice for her. Like, just take your fucking L and fucking learn from all the mistakes that you made in that fucking situation. Learn from every single last one of them and do better, yo. Like, please, God, do better, because 2 months and you getting pregnant thinking that dude's gonna want to have a child with you, yo, you are just pathetically naive. Like, bless your fucking heart thinking that shit. Dog, niggas be with women for like whole years and still don't want kids with them. But you thought 2 months was man.
I was just gonna say, I think you could give her the same advice we gave the previous person, is that maybe you need to find a different, better church. Because the one that whatever you have going on has led you down a dangerous path.
It's just so crazy, like, dog.
These people just take L's and they just like they don't take L's, they invite L's.
There you go.
They let them motherfuckers through the door. Like, hey, how you doing? Thank you for coming.
So like, I'm so like, yo, you went raw with community dick. Like, what is your problem, dog? Like,
community dick. Man.
Oh man.
OPP.
Yeah, I got nothing. I got no advice for her.
Use condoms, contraceptives, and any other means to not get pregnant and to avoid STDs, please. Thank you.
Especially with the STDs for like 2 months, and you let dudes shoot up club. Like, oh man, did y'all even have a conversation? Like, there's so many questions I have that I'm never gonna get answers to, so I don't want to continue this conversation. So. All right, Mike. Thank you
for the ad libs. All right, let's switch it up to the political part of the podcast.
Oh yeah,
politics, fam. Let's go.
This episode, we're gonna take not completely, but we're gonna take a sidestep away from Trump, because I'm sure everyone hears about Donald Trump fucking every time they turn on the news. So we're gonna talk about this article from The Atlantic, titled "The Democratic Party Apologizes to Black Voters." Article goes, Swanky fundraisers don't often begin with an apology to the well-heeled donors who shelled out thousands of dollars to sip wine, eat steak, and listen to pep rally speeches. But as he looked out over a predominantly black crowd gathered at the Georgia Aquarium on Thursday, Tom Perez, the Democratic National Committee chairman, felt compelled to issue a mea culpa. "I'm sorry," Perez said. "We lost elections not only in November 2016, but we lost elections in the run-up because we stopped organizing. We stopped talking to people. We took too many people for granted. And African Americans, our most loyal constituency, we all too frequently took for granted. That is a shame on us, folks. And for that I apologize, and for that I say it will never happen again."
It's going to happen again, first and foremost, because it always is.
Oh, no doubt.
It's definitely going to happen again, because at the very end of the day, the Democratic Party is ruled by this remedial ass ideology of we need to, attract and pander to these quote unquote moderate conservative voters who are on the fence about, being Republican or not. And they do that all the time at the expense of the black voters who unarguably are the backbone of the Democratic Party. Like, I mean, look at, what was it, Kansas with Roy Moore? If it was not for black women and to a lesser extent black men, that motherfucker would have won. A whole ass child diddler would have fucking won an election for state, for senator. It was a senator or governor, one of those two. To me, that is wild. And we are always told by our quote unquote allies that, hey, you need to put your issues on the back burner and focus on X, Y, and Z groups issues. And it's like, okay, and we do that, and then our issues never get addressed. And it's like, well, and they always hit you with this. They try to guilt trip you by saying shit like, oh, if you guys don't vote for us, then it means they're going to win. Do you want that? Do you really want that? And at some point, sometimes I'm like, yeah, nigga, I'm fine with that. Like, it's a frustrating experience being a black voter, because it's like we are the ones who organize and we rally, and we're the ones who basically get the entire Democratic base. We're the ones who encourage them to vote. And it's like our shit gets ignored time and time again. And I can understand why so many black voters get just disinterested in voting altogether, because it's like, well, you're never going to address our issues and things that bother us. So what's the point of me voting?
What I took away from it was more so just like that they actually said that verbatim. And I think that's a step in the right direction, because I don't earnestly hear that too often. It's cool that they're actually just saying, hey, our largest constituents, our most loyal constituents, we are sorry we took you for granted. And I think that's actually a really big step for like the next few years. Now, later down the line, of course, they're going to forget, because that's how history works. You forget about, you take people for granted. The longer you're with somebody's with you, the more easier it is for you to take them for granted. So I can see that happen in the future. But as for right now, and considering the current political climate and stuff like that, in recent memory, I don't remember them ever actually saying that verbatim, that, black people were sorry. I think it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. See, Mike you're way more optimistic than I will ever be. I commend
surprisingly, I'm surprisingly optimistic.
I pretty much think that all of 3 months they're going to be right back where the fuck they are right now. And apology means absolutely jack shit to me. Like, I don't suspect in a couple of years they'll fall back to their normal, modus operandi. It's going to be a couple of months from now. Like, they're going to be right back to taking us for granted and basically doing the exact same thing Democrats have been doing since like fucking the early 2000s, which is basically placating and trying to coddle moderates and conservatives in general, and this whole meet in the middle shit, which does not work, but people want the Democrats to do that over and over again. It's like, well, if conservatives continue to move right and Democrats continue to meet in the middle, then the middle continues to move right. And it's like, at some point, you got to stop moving right, because it's not working. And really, conservatives are winning when you do that. And I mean, people always say liberals, Democrats are moving too far left. But I'm like, we're really not even moving left at all. We're just no longer moving right. And everybody's flipping their shit about that. Like, we haven't actually enacted any policies that take us further left. We just stop doing, like, we have no power. So we just literally stop moving right now. And people are like flipping out about that. I'm just like, wow, this country's pretty trash. And yeah, Democrats will take black people for granted again. I suspect in about right around midterms, it'll happen. Like right after that, you'll see all the think pieces. Oh, black people, they didn't show up, or oh, black people are the reason why conservatives won, and other stupid shit when a Democrat doesn't win in their state or something like that. Because it always happens, all the time since 1968 and beyond. It's always done that, and it's really tiring.
The last part of this story details Stacey Abrams, who is vying to become the first black woman elected governor of any state. Abrams' opponent, Brian Kemp, who just defeated the incumbent Republican.
Kemp is like crazy. Like he's racist, but he's like trying to be.
He's like, racist, but what? What's the but?
He's racist, but he knows how to conceal it well enough to get idiots to vote for him. Like he is one of those. Like, but he is like purely. He is like the ideal conservative, as in he fucking blows on the dog whistle loud as shit, but for some reason everybody like nobody hears it, and everybody's oh yeah, it's not really that bad and things like that. And if you read his campaign strategy and his like fucking his modes of attack, like you would look at him like, yo, this man's mad racist, and then you realize this man is probably going like he's going to have like a fucking army of conservative voters behind him, and it's oh man, I don't know, man. Like, I hope she wins, but I don't really believe in people. I don't have faith in people anymore. So, and it's Georgia. Like, outside of the metro, like, it's pretty rural. And rural white people are just, like, the dumbest group of Americans ever. And they'll vote against their best interests all the time if you can convince them that they're better than black people. So, yeah. And then add in the fact that right now in Georgia, especially, there is voter registration purge going on for people who've actually registered. Coincidentally, I say that quotation marks, it, disproportionately affects black voters, coincidentally, again. So, Republicans never play fair, and then Democrats they do fuck all about it. They never make any noise about these things. So, I don't know, man.
What can they do, though? Like, what can you honestly do about that situation? What kind of noise can you make?
Well, first and foremost,
that's not going to shut down by the Republicans. Like, what can you earnestly do?
Well, you can go to your local courts and complain about it, because that is something that you're allowed to do when it comes to voter purge. But nobody does that because, well, you people complain that, oh, that's not really, we should just let the votes decide. Like, bitch, can't like, I'm like, I don't know. For me, I really get tired of this whole, oh, if you don't like something, vote. Well, can't really vote if you keep fucking purging our votes. Therefore, you should go to the court and let the courts decide and fix it. And then once they decide and they fucking do their best to fix it, then you can vote for the right thing. You know what I mean? Like, I just get so sick and tired of people acting like Democrats can't do shit. Like, they can. Y'all just don't want to. Like, because y'all always get scared of what the fucking Republicans going to think of y'all. Who gives a fuck what Republicans think of you? Like, I don't understand why everybody's so concerned about how Republicans view them. Dog, like, imagine black people walking around every day concerned about what white people think of them. Like, how bitch made is that?
I mean, there's a few.
The article goes on to detail how Kemp is intentionally targeting Trump voters.
He is intentionally.
He ran an ad in which he points a shotgun at a fictitious teenage suitor of his daughter.
Yeah, that was a really crazy ad.
In another ad, he notes he has a big truck in case I need to round up criminal illegals and take them home myself.
That dog whistle.
He says, if you want a politically incorrect conservative, that's me.
Yeah, he's a smarter Trump, and if there was a thing.
Yeah, that's
and Trump has rewarded Kemp by tweeting an endorsement last Wednesday. And Vice President Pence is headed to Georgia. He'll be here, or be there, rather. I'm staying the fuck away from Georgia. But Mike Pence will be there on Saturday, so... your boy will be over there with you, Mike.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get the word out. I saw a few more posts or whatever. I was going to post on my Facebook or whatever about the voter suppression. Voter registration suppression. I look. There was even an election like Tuesday, and I didn't even go and vote. And I didn't because I didn't know because nobody says anything about local stuff, and that irritates the hell out of me.
Yeah, that's always the wild part because local matters way more than federal for most people.
Way more. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and this is just like the biggest local election coming up, and to see the voter purge stuff happen, it's like, oh, great! I see what you're trying to do. Clever, but I don't know, man. I would love for Stacey Abrams to win or whatever, and I'm more scared for her, more so like the stuff the shit that's gonna get thrown on her lap and stuff like that as a black woman, trying to run for the highest office in the state. So it's just scary for her, and I just hope she, has some good support around her and stuff like that.
She just can't ever leave Atlanta proper.
I mean, she wouldn't have to, but she has to reach everybody in the state. So, which her campaign already started doing back during the primaries. So it's, I don't know, man. I'm not expecting her to win because I know what Georgia is, and I don't think Atlanta, Savannah, and Athens. Maybe Valdosta or Athens even is even a toss up, are really liberal enough for that to happen. And, post Trump, these guys are just like, they're galvanized. They're ready to come out and vote and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know. I really don't really see anything positive happening out of this, but if it does, yay. If not, and what pisses me off is that it feels like a retread of the 2016 election. Yeah. When it comes to the primaries and then to the election, except this time I have less expectations going in. But it's pretty much it's like a mirror image, and I'm just sitting here just like, God, I thought I was over with. Not that I was done with it, but just to see it again is just like the worst kind of deja vu. It's like crazy ass right winger or whatever, and then you got the more normal conservative or whatever that somehow fucks up his chances or whatever. And the thing is with Casey Cagle or whatever is that he wasn't an incompetent Republican or nothing like that. It's just the fact that he said he tried to step away from Trump, and that was it. That's why he lost.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that he was trying to step away from Trump. He got recorded and they caught him saying something that he trying to step away from. He said crazy. It's like Kemp and Trump.
Well, I mean, the Republican Party is going just they're moving right at a neck breaking speed. And it's you got I'm not going to say, normal conservatives or shit like that, because they're all crazy to me, every single fucking one of them. But it's you got the ones who are, they want to be more covert with their, for lack of a better word, white nationalism. And they're like, whoa, you guys are way too overt and just way too out there with it. We need to, bring it back, dial it back. And it's yeah, no, you guys, they have no room in that party anymore. And it's they're never going to go to the liberals because it's whoa, that's way too much for us. So they get, they get tossed by the wayside by the Republican Party. Not that I feel terrible for them at all, because again, at the end of the day, they're all pieces of shit. But, it is what it is.
This next article related to what Angelus was saying earlier via The Root. Title of the article is "Millions of Black Voters Are Being Purged from Voter Rolls, Often Illegally." Voter Purges, a new report by Brennan Center, highlights the systemic purging of voters from rolls by state and local officials around the country. These are not random, isolated cases. It's a methodical effort that disproportionately affects minority voters, and even worse, no one cares. Between 2014 and 2016, 16 million registered voters were removed from state rolls, 33% more than were removed between 2006 and 2008. For the election of 2012 and 2016, the Brennan Center estimates that 2 million fewer voters would have been purged if those states had to apply by the provisions of the Voting Rights Act.
Yep. Keep in mind that the Voters' Right Act was gutted a little bit. So, yeah, man, to me, it's just so wild that, something that people consider a right can be so easily abused and taken away. And like, at the same time, the same people who always complain about, your rights as a citizen in America and about their gun rights, like they are very much for, voting rights being doled out at their discretion. You know what I mean? If you are a felon, you're not allowed to vote, which is crazy to me because you still tax these people. And it's like, what happened to the whole, no taxation without representation thing that you fucking conservative nutbags are always complaining about? That's like literally the entire one of the reasons why America is separated from the British. Like, people's taxes were being taken, but they got no voice in what you could do with said taxes. And so like this whole voter purge thing is just completely wild, and obviously it's just another example of Republican hypocrisy. Is like, yo, like you are taking a fundamental right away from people because they don't vote for your party. Like, instead of you doing the fucking due diligence the due diligence that you need to do and actually try to sway these voters, you just basically cut them off completely in order to keep your semblance of power. And it's just like, okay, like that really does not help your image of being the racist ass fucking party that's only for white people, never minding the fact that the demographics of your party is like 90% fucking white anyway, voter and fucking in politics, in government too. And so to me, it's really frustrating, more so that nobody cares about it more than anything else, because it's like, it is like literally, like a lot of the times it's literally illegal under the guise that it's so fucking systematic and so surgical and precision, but yet nobody cares. And people just go, oh, well, what can you do? Just register again. It's just like, we need to do more. We need to fucking, it needs to be more than that being the status quo of just shrugging it off and going, what can you do?
On that note, the article mentions that nearly every study done on voter fraud has come to the conclusion that it's essentially non-existent.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, who goes through the effort of actually trying to fraud your vote? Like, it's nobody wants to be there in the first place. Sitting a long line waiting to vote. Like, nobody has the energy to do all that.
And almost every type of voter purge disproportionately affects black voters and voters of color.
Yeah.
Some states purge rolls based solely on names, but non-white people are more likely to have similar names. According to the U.S. Census, 16.3% of Hispanic people and 13% of Black people have one of the top 10 most common surnames, compared to 4.5% of white people.
Like I said, man, American government is like completely dysfunctional, inherently racist, obviously, and just overall one of the worst forms of government ever.
The article goes on to highlight some of the more egregious attempts to purge people from voter rolls. In 2016, Secretary of State of Arkansas gave a list of 7,700 names to county clerks to be removed because of supposed felony convictions. And the list included people who had never been convicted of a felony and formerly convicted persons whose voting rights had been restored. It paints a very clear picture of what the purpose is of these voter purges.
Right.
In one instance, a federal court halted a purge after Hurricane Katrina after justices found that 1/3 of the purge names came from a majority Black parish in New Orleans. They straight up just like took the attendance sheet from a church and it's like, all these people need to be purged.
Bro, this shit is so blatantly right. Like, honestly, there should be the death penalty for this shit. Like, like, I'm sorry. Like,
hey, how many people that's a group?
Hey, man,
is it a group?
I'm sorry. Like, if you're a Republican, like, just by association, you gotta get the death penalty for this, or life in prison.
Dude.
In Alabama, Indiana, and Maine, they have illegally instituted a widely ridiculed cross-check system that purges voters without federally mandated notification.
Again, the least life in prison, man. This shit is so blatant, and it's just like, stop. Like, what's going to happen is, like, eventually, somewhere down the line in about 10 to 20 years, we're going to revisit Voter Rights Act, and then they're going to start slapping people on the wrist for these situations, and they're still going to continue to do it, because all that's going to happen is we'll probably get, like, you'll see like a little article in New York Times, such and such group was caught doing this, and it's like, that was bad, and then that's it. They'll continue to do it. And it's like, yo, Like, oh my god, I hate this country so much.
Yeah, turn up. I don't know what to say to that.
The article goes on to give some easily implementable recommendations to fix voter purging. The first one is public notifications of impending voter purges, which seems like it should be done already. I don't know why that isn't a thing.
You know why.
You know why.
Making purges lists available to the public.
That's not going to happen.
Or
accepting provisional ballots from voters who had been purged.
That's not going to happen.
Universal voter registration.
That's definitely not going to happen.
That happens a lot, though. Voter registration, like a lot
universal,
of
that's not happening, bro. Like,
okay.
The South alone will say fuck no to that. Like, they'd rather go to the Civil War.
Jeff Sessions, the head of the Department of Justice, has been urging states to do more purging.
Of course he has, because he's a fucking racist Keebler elf. I'm surprised. I'm really upset he's still alive. I don't understand how these racist people live so long. I don't get it. Like, are they...
How old is Jeff Sessions?
I think it's like 188, man. Fucking senile little fuck, man. I don't understand how he's still functional.
He gave a biblical ass age.
But yeah, I mean, again, universal registration is never, ever going to happen, despite the fact that these fools will swear to you that voting is a right. Like, we really don't treat it like a right. Like, man, people will defend a felon getting a gun, but a felon voting, oh, you cross the fucking line. Like, that's just never going to happen. And it's so wild to me. So
Jeff Sessions is 71.
Okay, so 142 is his real age. Cool.
And for people listening who are concerned about their rights being taken away, you could go to vote.org and you could put in your name, your address, your date of birth, and email address, and they will tell you if you are registered to vote currently. And I will say that you should probably check regularly.
Yeah.
Because from what I've seen, people are saying they checked like a week ago and now this week they're gone.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to be on top of it, unfortunately, for the time being.
Basically.
I checked. I'm probably going to have to check like monthly, if not weekly.
I'll probably check every couple of weeks.
So yeah, the aspect of voter purging would be a big boon to Republican turnout and victories in the upcoming November elections.
Yeah.
See, we barely even talked about Donald Trump this time.
We don't even talk about him.
I swear the most evil people live forever. I don't get it.
Speaking of which, R. Kelly.
Oh, man. Kid Diller himself, the Pied Piper.
Robert Kelly released a 21-minute song titled I Admit. Did either one of you listen to the song?
Fuck no.
Hell no.
I didn't even listen to a single
I got
minute.
mad at somebody at work because they were listening to R. Kelly produced tracks or whatever. I heard the Isley Brothers and Kelly Price, and I was like, nope. I already know what that's about.
Dog, I haven't listened to that song at all. Like, I knew I got all I need to know from Twitter. I saw a couple lyrics posted, and I was just like, yeah, nah, I'm good on this, man. Like the fact that it was called I Admit, I automatically was like, yo, the fact that y'all still defend R. Kelly and this man just basically say he's a child dealer, like, y'all are all trash. Like, fuck y'all and your entire fucking family tree. Except for the kids. They're cool.
The chorus is literally, I admit it, I admit it. I admit it, I did it. I did it, yeah. I admit it, I did. I admit it, I did it.
The monotonal is just making it the best ever.
The Boondocks couldn't have done this better.
You know, he basically did admit that he was a child diddler, but then he says, hey, you know, don't bring your kids around me, which is like, oh, what the fuck? Like, can you not control
Wait,
yourself?
what did you say?
Yeah, it's like, he admitted some other shit, and then he tried to flip it and say that he's just a man and he's going through things. It's like, so you going...
Best excuse ever.
Yeah, like,
man.
so what, you going through some personal things makes you want to touch kids? Like, how does that work, my guy? Like, when I'm going through things, I just want to go to sleep and not talk to anybody. Like, what the fuck, Robert? The thing that I find weird is that, you know, people are like, oh, you know, they're like, it's them defending it, and not only are they defending it, you know, it's that typical victim blaming shit that they do. And they're like, yo, like, well, you shouldn't have your kids around him and things like that. And it's like, yo, fam, like you just can't really sit here and say, yo, Robert Kelly's a terrible fucking person, can you? Like, you are incapable of doing that. Like, I feel like
my coworker pulled that shit.
Yeah, I feel like for a lot of these dudes, especially dudes and older women, things like that, it's like they see R. Kelly as a reflection of them because they grew up on his music and shit like that. So it's like, oh, if R. Kelly's a child diddler, then I guess by extension I am, or something like that. I don't know what it is, but it's really weird.
I don't know how you get to that point anyway where you think you're not.
Yeah, so it's
people just want to listen to their music, and they don't want to have a crisis of consciousness to listen to their music. Which, I mean, don't be mad at the people saying getting mad at not listening to R. Kelly. Get mad at fucking R. Kelly for doing stupid shit and ruining music for everybody.
Exactly. And then the thing that's crazy is that this is not like a new allegation against R. Kelly. You know what I mean? Like, yo, R. Kelly's been a whole ass child diddler for like fucking 20 years, man. Like, this is not brand new. Like, yo, he fucking married Aaliyah when she was like fucking 14. And he made her lie on her registration saying that she was a whole 18-year-old girl. And it's just like, y'all don't think that's fucking weird? Like, that's weird as shit. Like, because R. Kelly was like 24 and shit like that. And it's just like, yo, like, there's no way you can excuse that kind of, like, the man's sick. Like, he's a disgusting piece of shit. And it's like, everybody so wants to defend him because he made good music. And it's like, okay, and he's still a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit who made Through Your Thong. Cool. Still a piece of shit. He's still a child diddler. Like, hold him accountable for that. Like, quit getting upset with everybody else pointing out the obvious thing that, hey, R. Kelly's a terrible person because you like his music. Like, don't, like Mike said, don't get mad at people for pointing out that, yo, this is a terrible human being. Get mad at the terrible human being for being a terrible fucking human being.
Especially when R. Kelly just made a song 21 minutes long, pointing it out.
I admit it. Like, yo, like, I literally had a conversation at work about this. This got me over there. It's just like, well, you know, compare this, all these other artists out here to do. Yeah. And then when we know what they do for sure, you know, have their court cases or whatever, because we don't want to jump on nobody and end up like, you know, the story not being the case or whatever. Once we have enough information or whatever, we'll say, yeah, fuck them too. Like we do with Chris Brown, like we do with a bunch of artists like there that's done some real dirty shit or whatever. You know, like nobody celebrates like Turner at all. You know, let that man to dust or whatever. So we can drop R. Kelly, we can drop all these whack ass, terrible, toxic ass artists, especially people that admit it. Pull the damn O.J. Simpson when you think about it in a 21-minute song. I don't get it, dog. I don't understand how you could just cape for somebody, stand for somebody, or whatever so hard that you would go, I don't care about these people that have been victims to sexual abuse and stuff like that. Like that's literally what you're doing. You have that much. You don't care that much about victims of sexual abuse that you just like, I'm gonna listen to it anyways. Like they had a fucking DJ playing fucking the step song at my work at the job or whatever, and I was like, oh, and I caught myself singing it too because it's catchy as hell. It's a good ass song. I'm just like, God damn it, R. Kelly just ruined a whole 2 decades worth of good music or whatever.
The really toxic part of it is that by supporting him, like he's continuing to assault people
continuously. He has a whole cult.
So by supporting him, you're co-signing and enabling his current behavior of taking advantage of young women, or young girls, I should say. There's one part in the song where he says, I admit I can't spell for shit. I admit that all I hear is hits. I admit that I couldn't read the teleprompter when the Grammys asked me to present.
Okay.
Are you supposed to feel bad that you're illiterate? Like, that doesn't absolve you of your fucking child diddling, bro. Like, I really hate when people do that. Like, when they've done wrong, they deflect by talking about all this other shit that's going on in their lives. Like, okay, I guess that's cool, but we're not talking about all of that. Like, you only brought that up because we're talking about this. Like, people do it all the time, and it's really weird. It's like, if this was something that was really important to you, like, you would have brought that up before we started fucking ragging on you about whatever we're talking about. Nobody cares that you can't read R. Kelly. You're a fucking millionaire. Like, shut your fucking mouth. Like, yo,
you pulled a Kevin Spacey pretty much.
Yeah, like, yo, motherfucker, go watch Reading Rainbow, nigga. You got enough money to buy the whole fucking DVD collection. Like, shut the fuck up, man. it's really crazy. And the thing that annoys me most of all is like, yo, you see so many people. I had to catch myself before I said something really rude, but you see so many people who are like, oh, yo, like this is a conspiracy, fam. Like they're trying to get all the black men, all the black male celebrities, and it's like, oh, here we go with this.
Every time.
Yeah, it's like, here we
Every
go.
time.
So basically what you guys really complaining about is that, you know, black male celebrities who clearly do wrong, who've done fucked up things, aren't absolved of their fucking, you know, of the consequences of their actions like fucking white celebrities are. So you want the same power that, you know, those white celebrities have when they're allowed to get away with it. That's what you're really complaining about. And that's really creepy on so many levels.
The same shit they did for Bill Cosby.
Yeah, it's like, oh, such and such rape. Right? Yeah, it's like they rape people too, and they got away with this. Like, so you want
people to get away for it?
Yeah, like
it sounds so disgusting.
Like, yo, you're telling on yourself a little bit, fam. Like, I hope anybody reading the shit you say, it's like understanding what you're saying and like steers clear of you.
In the song, he says, "Take my career and turn it upside down because you mad I got some girlfriends. Hell with this record deal. It ain't worth this shit for real. Ain't seen my kids in years. They trying to lock me up like Bill." Yeah.
Yeah, we are. Like, that's what we're trying to do.
That was the absolute worst celebrity you could have put in your lyrics.
Really?
Because, yes, people would like to see you in jail like Bill Cosby because you're guilty of a lot of sex crimes.
Yeah, and then the fact that he brags about having, you know, quote unquote women, by women we all know he means little girls, is just really creepy. I'm like, bro, like, you gotta be put away from society, man. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not actually sorry at all. I want you to be put away, but yeah, you gotta go, bro.
The amount of stuff he's done over the years, like me and this other guy were pretty much, because like we came up at work or whatever, and we just pretty much broke down every single situation R. Kelly was in or whatever. We was like, Aaliyah, pissed on a little girl, sex cults, just numerous, and then even then, listen to his lyrics. Listen, what is his little nickname? Like the Pied Piper of R&B. Who was the Pied Piper? We broke down all of that shit. She was looking there like, oh, like this stuff is right in your face. But if you fail to look at it and just to ignore everybody else's, you know, comments as just hate or whatever, which is stupid. You know, people are putting up legitimate criticisms about the guy. Like, they're right in your face. Listen to what people say. Where people are on the internet just like, I hate the idea that everybody just on the internet to be mad at something. No, we have a voice, so you're going to hear more opinions than you used to back in the day or whatever, because you just hear opinions here and there from family and stuff like that in the barbershop and shit. You're going to hear everybody's opinion, so it's going to sound like that. Don't get caught up in so many opinions that you can't figure out that people have a legit grievance against some shit. And this is some grievous ass shit. This is some egregious shit. This is like, let that nigga go. Please. Like, yes, we can't listen to You're Contagious no more. I get it. I know. I hate it myself. I love that fucking song. But he ruined it by being ain't shit like he is. Pretty much. And for the artists out there who still Kate for him or whatever, y'all know who y'all are. We ain't supporting your ass either. Because I know y'all be seeing the comments. I be seeing the verified sign and shit. Fuck y'all too. And I'm done.
There's a point in the song where he details a conversation he had with Wendy Williams at his place. And it goes, she said, "What about Aaliyah?" I said, "Love." She said, "What about the tape?" I said, "Hush." I said, "My lawyer said, don't say nothing."
Trash, man. Nigga is absolutely trash.
Oh, we're not done with the song.
No,
this song's 21 minutes. There's a lot more in
here. Why is it 21 minutes? Why? What possessed him to do this shit? Like, what are you...
Guilty conscience wants to speak, man.
I admit it, however, since the first day, that without knowing, I signed my publishing away. I admitted I was young, caught up and blind. Said I had dyslexia, couldn't read all them contracts. Now the truth in this message is I'm a broke-ass legend. The only reason I stay on tour, I gotta pay my rent.
Well, nigga, move to a cheaper fucking place. Problem solved.
And stop having all them dang sex cults and paying people off and shit like that. You probably have some money.
Buy yourself a fucking Toyota Prius, you bitch ass.
He says, I admit I had to borrow a couple of M's from the label. All these hits out, but I couldn't put food on the table. I was told I had to sell my cars. I was told I couldn't get a loan. That I owed $20 million to the IRS and they're coming to get my home. I admit I was feeling stupid staying in the Homewood Suites.
That's your fault, man.
What the fuck? Go set up a GoFundMe if you really that hurt.
At the end of, after he says Homewood Suites, he ad-libs, no disrespect.
This man talking about him being a broke legend. You're not the only one, dog. I mean, shit. Should have got a good team running. Floyd looks like he's doing good, and he probably got some type of learning disability, maybe. So shit.
You didn't have to bring Floyd into this.
I feel like I had to because like niggas making mad coin or whatever because he got some good people around him. And I mean, granted, he's trash too in his own little way. But, you know,
I'm really upset you said maybe. The nigga can't read, bro.
I mean, hey, but he making money and he like he keeping it. It ain't like he just like stuck like Chuck.
I mean, that's funny. That's the other thing because it's like, yo, you not being able to read has nothing to do with your financial literacy.
Exactly. So basically, I have even more honest to not feel sorry for you, even more so than I already do. So it's like, oh, so you broke? Okay.
He says, "What's the definition of a cult? What's the definition of a sex slave?"
Well, I mean, if you can't read, you won't know the definition.
And go to the dictionary, look it up. Let me know. I'll be here waiting.
He thought he was doing something with that line. All the turns were like, ooh, that was fucking fire, fam. Like, man, shut the fuck up.
Just one of the more egregious lines. He opens up the 6th verse of his 8 verses with, "I admit it, I love Steve Harvey." And I was like, enough, R. Kelly. You have done enough damage. I don't know. He goes on to ask why they're talking shit about him.
About who, R. Kelly or...
why Steve Harvey's talking ill of him.
That's actually a really good question because Steve Harvey's a whole piece of shit too. So like,
I mean, but there's levels.
Is there? Yeah, that's true.
He said I could cheat on a girl, but I ain't no sleeping on a little girl. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, Steve Harvey. Adultery is not that bad, relatively.
Relatively, yeah. Yeah, I cheat on both my wives or whatever, but shit.
He lied to us about his hair for years.
Oh, that's what you more mad about?
I mean, I don't know his wives like that. Maybe I don't know what their situation was.
But you knew that hair like that? You had a close relationship?
All those years on the Steve Harvey show were a lie. He lied to America right in their face.
I made a whole rant about that dude New Year's when I was eating after I ate an edible and I was like mad drunk. I had like a rant about him and Bill Cosby. I said, fuck both of them. And now it's like...
Yeah, you put that evil on him.
I
the
did.
title of one of our shows.
Yeah.
And it's coming back for R. Kelly. It wasn't done.
It wasn't done. So, guess we'll go ahead and see what I can do this next New Year. Got to figure out some more targets.
SoWellSpoken.com.
Can you really get rid of Chris Brown at this point? Like, I'm tired of this nigga still existing. So put your evil on him.
Chris Brown. I don't really see the point. At this point.
This man's making the same song for the last 10 years, and I'm so tired. Like, bruh. Please stop. We do not deserve this. Please seek help. Get some help. Go away.
Stop it.
Stop. Quit. Quit. No more.
SoWellSpoken.com, where
these hoes ain't
gang.
At SoWellSpokenPod on Twitter.
Rest in peace, Smoke Dog. Gang.
iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify. Shout out to everyone who's still listening to the podcast.
And I appreciate the new viewers. I shared the link on our Instagram, my Snapchat, and a few of the guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in and some of the newer guys that's just going to watch and stuff like that. Really do appreciate you guys for giving me feedback as well.
Tell a friend, share, leave us a review on whatever platform you download this on.
All my friends, y'all already know to share, so I ain't got to say shit, but I just did anyway, so share.
If you have some thoughts you want to share with us about something we said, SoWellSpoken@gmail.com, or just hit us up on Twitter. We will gladly air out your grievances if you have any with something we've said. Probably something that Angelus has said.
More than likely.
I'm wholesome, yo. What the fuck y'all talking about?
No.
Dude, you're so lucky we cut out some of your more militant shit. The FBI would be knocking on your door.
I mean, I don't feel like anything I've said so far ever has been militant. It's just the fact of it's just where we need to be in America is what I think.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I don't think we could be hosting it and sharing it so openly like we are.
I'm pleading the fifth.
We need an uncut episode or just like outtakes.
No, we cannot.
How? What you mean? You need an uncut episode? How?
just like Moris like stitch together all of the wild shit we say and just like host it somewhere like anonymously.
Oh man, we're never gonna make it.
we're not, because we're not reaching the right demographics. If we can get the militants on our side, we can do numbers, man. Antifa, think about it.
You might get the wrong militants, man. You might get them hoteps over here.
Nah, I don't want the hoteps. Those
nowhere.
ashy niggas can shut the fuck up too.
What else? Oh, I've been streaming a lot more lately. I've just finished Devil May Cry 4, and as soon as August hits and I have some good days to stream, we're going to do the Soul Calibur or Soul Series marathon, where I'm going through every single game before October hits, when Soul Calibur 6 drops, and then later this year I'll be doing a Resident Evil marathon, and in between I'll be doing some Tekken and some other stuff, whatever floats my boat. So y'all be sure to check that out. That's twitch.tv/firetrainer92. Firetrainer92 is also my YouTube, and I'll be uploading a lot of original content there.
And whenever I get around to updating the site, I'll put all that up there. So if you're listening to this way after the air date, you could probably go to So Well Spoken and find all that information there.
In the year 2019.
We'll get to it. It'll happen eventually.
All right.
Word.
See you guys for the next episode.
Yep.
Peace. You can stop now.